The champagne glass shattered against the marble floor with a sound that would echo through the ballroom for years to come. Standing at the podium, tech executive David Richardson held up his phone to the massive screens flanking the stage. On them, projected for all 500 guests to see, were text messages that would destroy more than just his marriage. But what David didn't know yet was that this moment of revenge would cost him something he never saw coming. Let me take you back to where this all began, 6 months before that fateful awards ceremony. Before we dive into this incredible story, drop a comment and let me know where you're watching from. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button because you won't want to miss stories like this. Trust me, this one's going to blow your mind. David Richardson had everything the American dream promised. At 42, he was the chief technology officer of a software company in Palo Alto, pulling in a comfortable $250,000 a year. His wife, Jennifer, was a rising star in the marketing world, beautiful, ambitious, and by all accounts, the perfect partner. They'd been married for 12 years. No kids, they'd always been too focused on their careers. David had proposed to Jennifer on the Golden Gate Bridge at sunset, and she'd said yes before he could even finish his rehearsed speech. That day, with the fog rolling in and her tears mixing with the mist, he'd thought he was the luckiest man alive. Everyone said they were the perfect couple. Everyone was wrong. The first crack appeared on a random Tuesday in March. David came home early. A vendor meeting had been canceled. Jennifer's car was in the driveway, which was odd since she told him she had a client presentation until at least 7. He walked in, calling out to his wife. No answer. He set his laptop bag down and noticed Jennifer's phone on the kitchen counter. Face up. It buzzed with a text. David wasn't a jealous man. He'd never been the type to snoop. But something about this message made him glance down. Maybe it was intuition. Maybe it was fate. The preview read, "Last night was incredible. I can't stop thinking about you. When can I see you again?" The sender's name was Bradley Work. His stomach dropped. Last night, Jennifer had said she was at a dinner meeting with clients. She'd come home at 11, kissed him on the cheek, and gone straight to shower. His hand trembled as he picked up her phone. It wasn't locked. She'd always said she had nothing to hide. He opened the thread. What he saw made his blood run cold. Weeks of messages. Hundreds of them. Some were mundane, but others were explicit, intimate, filled with passion that David couldn't remember ever reading in any message Jennifer had sent him. The messages went back 4 months. There were photos too, Jennifer and this Bradley at restaurants, at bars, at what looked like a hotel room with the city skyline behind them. David heard footsteps on the stairs. He quickly set the phone down and stepped away, his heart hammering. He needed time to think. Jennifer appeared in the doorway, hair damp, wearing yoga pants and his old Stanford t-shirt. She looked surprised. "David, I didn't hear you come in. What are you doing home so early?" He studied her face, searching for guilt. She just looked like Jennifer, his Jennifer. Except she wasn't his anymore, was she? "Meeting got canceled," he said, surprised at how normal his voice sounded. "I thought you had that presentation?" A flicker of something crossed her face. Gone in an instant. "Oh, that got pushed to Thursday. I came home to prep." She smiled at him, that warm smile that had made him fall in love 15 years ago. "I was just about to start dinner. That pasta you love." David nodded, feeling numb. "That sounds great." He walked upstairs to their bedroom and sat on the edge of their bed. The bed they'd shared for over a decade. The bed where she'd been lying to him for months. But David wasn't an impulsive man. His success came from analyzing situations, seeing patterns, solving problems methodically. So he started planning. Over the next week, David became someone else. On the outside, he was the same attentive husband. He kissed Jennifer goodbye every morning, asked about her day, made love to her when she initiated it. Though now he couldn't help wondering if she was thinking about Bradley. But secretly, he was gathering evidence. He hired a private investigator, a former cop named Rita who came highly recommended. $200 an hour, but David didn't care about the money. He needed to know everything. Rita's report came back 2 weeks later. Bradley and Jennifer had been meeting twice a week at a hotel in San Mateo for 4.5 months. Bradley was recently divorced. But here was the part that destroyed David. Jennifer had told Bradley that her marriage was comfortable but passionless, and that she was planning to leave him eventually. She was planning to leave him. Their 12 years together, their vows, their life. She was going to throw it all away for a personal trainer with motivational quote tattoos. David sat alone in his car that night, parked in an empty lot, and let himself break down. He gripped the steering wheel and screamed until his throat was raw. He cried until he couldn't breathe. Then he wiped his face, started the engine, and drove home. Jennifer was in the kitchen when he walked in, humming as she chopped vegetables. "Hey, honey, how was your day?" "Good," David said. "Really good." And he meant it, because now he knew exactly what he was going to do. What would you have done in David's position? Keep watching, you won't believe what happens next. While David was reeling from his discovery, Jennifer received news that changed everything. She was being awarded Marketing Innovator of the Year by the Bay Area Marketing Association. Black tie ceremony, industry leaders, press coverage. Jennifer had been over the moon, and David, loving husband that he appeared to be, had been her biggest cheerleader. But sitting in his office, looking at Rita's report, David had a realization. Jennifer's award ceremony wasn't just going to be her career's pinnacle. It was going to be the perfect stage for the truth. David spent the next 2 months preparing. He didn't confront Jennifer. He played the supportive husband even better than before. He brought her coffee, took her to celebratory dinners, listened to her practice her acceptance speech over and over. All the while, he was planning something that would change both their lives forever. He had connections in tech, and he used them. A friend in AV production helped him create a special video presentation. David collected every text message, every photo, every piece of evidence, and compiled it into a timeline. He worked late into the night, making sure everything was perfect. But then something happened that almost derailed everything. 3 weeks before the ceremony, David came home to find Jennifer crying at the kitchen table. Real tears, not the fake ones he'd learned to recognize. "Hey, what's wrong?" he asked, and part of him, the part that still remembered loving her, genuinely wanted to know. "I've been so stressed," she said, looking up at him with red eyes. "This award, the pressure at work, everything. And I realized, I've been taking you for granted, David. You've been so supportive, and I haven't been present. I haven't been the wife you deserve." David's heart clenched. Was she about to confess? Was this the moment she'd end it with Bradley and come clean? "Starting tonight," Jennifer continued, "I want to reconnect with you. Really reconnect. Remember when we first got married? How we used to talk for hours, cook together? I miss that. I miss us." She stood up and hugged him, and David felt her trembling against him. "I love you," she whispered. "I know I don't say it enough, but I do. You're my rock, David. I don't know what I'd do without you." For one terrible, tempting moment, David considered calling the whole thing off. Maybe she was changing. Maybe she was ending it with Bradley. Maybe they could fix this. Then his phone buzzed in his pocket. He pulled it out, a message from Rita. Subject and male companion checked into usual location 30 minutes ago. Jennifer was still hugging him, still trembling, still whispering about how much she loved him. She'd come straight from Bradley's arms to his. David hugged her back. "I love you too," he said. And he meant it. That was the worst part, he still loved her. He just couldn't trust her anymore. The reconnection dinner never happened. Jennifer got called in for a work emergency that night. David checked the doorbell camera footage later. Bradley had picked her up at the end of their street. Should David still go through with his plan? Let me know in the comments. Trust me, what he does next will shock you. The night of the awards ceremony arrived. The hotel's grand ballroom looked spectacular. David wore his best tuxedo. Jennifer looked stunning in her emerald gown, her blonde hair in elegant waves. "I'm so nervous," she whispered as they sat down. "Thank you for being here, for always being here." "I wouldn't miss it," David said, squeezing her hand. The dinner passed in a blur. David barely tasted his food. Finally, the awards began. Jennifer's category was last, Marketing Innovator of the Year. When they called her name, the room erupted. Jennifer stood, kissed David on the cheek, and made her way to the stage. David pulled out his phone. On stage, Jennifer accepted her award, a glass statue that caught the light. She launched into her practice speech. "I want to thank my incredible team," she began. "Marketing isn't a solo sport. It takes collaboration, creativity, and risk-taking." David typed a message. His AV friend was in the tech booth. One text was all it would take. His thumb hovered over send. This was it. No going back. His marriage would be over. Jennifer's reputation would be destroyed. On stage, Jennifer continued. "But most importantly, I want to thank my husband, David. David, stand up, honey." The spotlight found him. David stood. The room applauded. "David has been my partner in every sense for 12 years. He's supported my dreams, believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. This award isn't just mine. It's ours. Thank you, my love." The room made appreciative sounds. People smiled at him, the perfect husband of the perfect wife. Jennifer raised her award. "So here's to partnership, to love, and to—" David pressed send. The screens went dark. Jennifer paused, confused. Then the screens lit up. Text messages. Large enough for everyone to read. "Jennifer, last night was incredible. I can't stop thinking about you. Bradley, you're amazing. Your husband has no idea what he's missing. Jennifer, David's sweet, but he's so boring. He's married to his work. You make me feel alive again." The room went silent. 500 people stared at the screens, then at Jennifer, then at David. More messages appeared. "Bradley, when are you going to leave him?" "Jennifer, soon. After this awards thing. I don't want to mess up my shot at Marketing Innovator." A collective gasp echoed through the ballroom. Jennifer found her voice. David, I can—" "This isn't." But David was already walking toward the stage. The crowd parted. You could have heard a pin drop. He climbed the stairs. Jennifer backed away from the podium, shaking her head, mascara streaming. David took the microphone. "Good evening," he said calmly. "I apologize for the interruption. But the truth deserved as large a stage as the lies." The screens changed. Photos, Jennifer and Bradley at restaurants, hotels. Timestamps showed dates when she told David she was working late. "For those who don't know me, I'm David Richardson, Jennifer's husband, the one she thanked for being her partner." He paused. "What I didn't know was that for 4.5 months, she's had a different kind of partner. Bradley Morrison. They've been meeting twice a week. Room 412 at the Westin, usually." Someone gasped, "Jesus Christ." Jennifer was sobbing now. "David, please. Not here. Can we talk privately?" David looked at her, letting his anger show for the first time. "Privately? Like how you privately decided to cheat on me. Like how you privately told Bradley I was boring. Like how you privately planned to leave me after using me to advance your career." He turned back to the audience. "Jennifer is brilliant at creating narratives, at making people believe in something. She sold me on our perfect marriage for 4 months while sleeping with someone else. That takes real talent." The screens changed one final time. Security footage from hotel lobbies, doorbell camera footage showing Jennifer kissing Bradley goodbye at their own front door, screenshots of her Google searches, how to ask for a divorce and California divorce laws. The room erupted. People stood, reached for phones, talked over each other. David set the microphone down and walked off stage. He didn't look back at Jennifer, standing there with her arms wrapped around herself, completely destroyed. He walked through the ballroom. Someone started clapping, a slow clap that built as others joined. By the time he reached the doors, half the room was applauding. He pushed through into the lobby and took his first full breath in hours. But what David didn't know was that someone else had been recording that night. Someone who would turn his moment of revenge into something much bigger. David's phone exploded with messages. He ignored them all except one. From Rita. "Saw the live stream. Well played." Live stream? David checked social media. Several attendees had been streaming. Videos were being shared and reshared. The hashtag marketing innovator exposed was already trending. The story was spreading like wildfire. David got into his waiting car. Where to, sir? He thought about their house. He couldn't go back. Not tonight. Find me a hotel, he said. Anywhere but here. As the car pulled away, Jennifer called. He declined. She called again. Declined. A text? David, please, I'm so sorry, please can we talk please? He turned off his phone. The fallout was nuclear. By morning, the story had gone national. Tech exec exposes wife's affair at her award ceremony trended everywhere. Videos had millions of views. Jennifer's marketing firm forced her to resign within a week. Bradley lost his consulting contracts. But David became something unexpected, a symbol. Some called him a hero. Others called him cruel. Feminist writers penned op-eds about public shaming. Men's rights activists made him a martyr. David read it all from his hotel room, feeling numb. The divorce papers arrived within a week. There wasn't much to fight about. No kids. California was community property. Everything split 50-50. What shocked David was the message he received 6 weeks later from Rachel Torres, a tech journalist who'd been at the ceremony. Mr. Richardson, I'm not looking for an interview, but you should know, dozens of people have reached out with their own infidelity stories. You started something. People are finding courage to leave unfaithful partners because of what you did. David wasn't sure how he felt about that. He'd never meant to start a movement. He just wanted Jennifer to feel what she'd made him feel. 3 months later, David sold their house. Too many memories. He bought a smaller place with a bay view and started therapy. Do you regret how you handled it? His therapist asked. David thought for a long time. I regret that it had to happen at all. I regret she cheated. But do I regret exposing her? He paused. No. She was gonna leave me anyway after using me. At least this way, I controlled part of the narrative. And now? What do you want? To move on, David said. To figure out who I am outside of being her husband. Slowly, he did. He got promoted. Started mentoring younger engineers. Took up photography. Something he'd always wanted to do. He even started dating. A marine biologist named Elena who was divorced, understood complications, and had no idea who David was until their 5th date. You're that guy? She'd said, looking up from her phone. I'm that guy. Elena studied him. That was intense, David. I know. Are you past it? The anger. Working on it, David said. Some days are better than others. They continued seeing each other, both carrying scars but willing to try again. 1 year after the ceremony, an envelope arrived. Handwritten. From Jennifer. David. It read. I know I have no right to contact you, but I needed to say some things. I'm sorry. Not just for the affair. For taking you for granted. For lying. For making you feel like you weren't enough when you were always more than I deserved. What happened at the ceremony? I was angry for a long time. But I've been in therapy. I realized the humiliation I felt was a fraction of what you felt discovering my affair. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I just wanted you to know I understand now what I threw away. You were a good husband. I was a terrible wife. I hope you found happiness, David. You deserve it. Jennifer. David read it 3 times in his new living room overlooking the bay. He felt sad acceptance. This chapter was truly over. He thought about responding but decided not to. Some things were better left in the past. He called Elena instead. Asked her to dinner that weekend. She said yes. But there was one more twist David never saw coming. 2 years after that night, David received a call from an unknown number. Against his better judgment, he answered. David Richardson? A man's voice. Who's this? Bradley Morrison. David's hand tightened on the phone. How did you get this number? I need to talk to you. In person. I have nothing to say to you. Please. Just, please. I know I have no right to ask. But there's something you need to know about that night. Something about Jennifer. David almost hung up. But something in Bradley's voice, desperation, maybe even fear, made him pause. "One coffee," David said. "That's it." They met at a cafe in San Francisco. Bradley looked different, thinner, older somehow. The cocky smile from his Instagram photos was gone. "I'm not here to apologize," Bradley said. "I mean, I should, but that's not why I called." "Then why?" Bradley pulled out his phone, slid it across the table. "Because you need to see this." David looked down. A text message thread. Between Jennifer and someone named Rachel T. The messages were from 3 weeks before the award ceremony. Jennifer: "He knows. I think David knows." Rachel T: "Are you sure?" Jennifer: "I found recording equipment. Hidden camera. He's been acting strange." Rachel T: "What are you going to do?" Jennifer: "What can I do? If he exposes me at the ceremony, my career is over. But if I confess now, I still lose everything. I'm trapped." David looked up, his heart pounding. "She knew? Before the ceremony, she knew I was planning something?" Bradley nodded. "That's why she gave that speech about you being her partner, her rock. She was trying to make it harder for you to go through with it. Or maybe make herself look better if you did." "How did you get these messages?" "After everything fell apart, Jennifer and we tried to make it work for a while. Didn't. When she left, she forgot to log out of her cloud account on my tablet. I saw these messages last month." Bradley leaned forward. "That whole reconnection dinner she planned, the crying about taking you for granted, she knew you were onto her. She was trying to manipulate you." David felt sick. That night when she'd held him, crying about wanting to fix things, it had all been an act. She hadn't been feeling guilty. She'd been trying to save herself. "Why are you telling me this?" David asked. "Because everyone thinks you're the villain now," Bradley said. "Half the internet thinks you went too far, humiliated her for no reason. But she knew what was coming. She played you until the very end. You deserved to know." David walked out of that cafe in a daze. Jennifer had known. She'd found his camera, figured out his plan, and still went through with the ceremony, still gave that speech, still tried to manipulate him with tears and false promises. That night he called Rachel Torres, the journalist. "I have a follow-up story for you," he said. "And this one's going to change everything." When the article dropped, complete with the text messages Bradley had provided, public opinion shifted overnight. The narrative changed from "man cruelly humiliates cheating wife" to "wife tried to manipulate husband even after being caught." But David felt no satisfaction, no victory. He was just tired. 3 years after the ceremony, David stood on the Golden Gate Bridge at sunset. The same spot where he'd proposed to Jennifer all those years ago. Elena was beside him, her hand in his. "You okay?" she asked. "Yeah," David said, and he meant it. The fog was rolling in, just like it had that day with Jennifer. But this time felt different. Real. Solid. "I used to come here and think about what I'd lost," David said. "But now I think about what I found." Elena squeezed his hand. "Which is?" "The truth," David said. "And myself. And you." She smiled. "That's pretty good for a guy who's supposedly terrible at romance." David laughed, really laughed, for what felt like the first time in years. His phone buzzed. Another message from someone wanting to interview him about that night, about the viral moment, about revenge and justice and the intersection of the two. He deleted it without reading. That story was over. That chapter was closed. This, standing on the bridge with Elena, watching the sun set over the bay, planning a future that was honest and real. This was the story that mattered now. Jennifer had taught him that love without truth is just pretty lies. Elena was teaching him that truth without love is just cold comfort. But together they might just be enough. David looked at Elena, at her dark eyes reflecting the sunset, at the way the wind caught her hair. "Want to get dinner?" he asked. "Only if you promise not to expose any of my secrets at a public ceremony," she said with a grin. "I think one viral moment is enough for a lifetime." They walked off the bridge hand in hand, leaving the ghosts of the past behind where they belonged. The city lights were beginning to twinkle on, and somewhere out there, life was happening. messy and complicated and beautiful and real. And for David Richardson, who'd learned the hard way that perfect is just a pretty word for fake. Real was more than enough. It was everything. And in the end, David realized something powerful. Revenge may expose lies, but truth is what sets you free. So what do you think? Was Jennifer's manipulation even worse than the original betrayal? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if this story kept you hooked, smash that like button and subscribe for more incredible stories. Where are you watching from? Let me know. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.